Turn that off. Okay. And we're live. All right. I think we're good. Let me see. Play some track here. Guess I can do this. So I'm playing the Bluegrass 100 beats per minute track. Hey, everybody's here. Finally. I had to go 3 times to get it right. This has got to get out of the way. All right. Enough of that. Everybody's saying their hellos while I underscore. Sorry about that late start. No internet this morning. I'm going to probably preface every single one of these lessons by saying that I am not a bluegrass player. I actually have a tune that I think it's hooked on. I call it "Hooked on Grass," and it's played every now and then on Price is Right. I have a song, or they have about 10 of my songs on their show. And sorry, I'm gonna let my sister know that I'm on right now, if she wants to watch. And so I have this one though that's that is called "Hooked on Grass," that they use every now and then when they have some kind of country themed prize giveaway or something like that, or maybe there's a game. You're familiar with Price is Right. There's a game maybe that has a country theme to it. And so let's see, I can see better with these glasses. Maybe not. And so anyway, so that's TV. When they're playing the song, it's not legitimate blue. I mean, it's kind of what I just played right there. I think I just kind of wrote all I got is green grass, to transpose. But in fact, let me tune the and I would play bluegrass. I would do mandolin and banjo and stuff like that for a game or for a TV show or a movie or something like that. No problem, generally. Although I did get asked for I told you about this, about getting asked to do banjo on this animated thing. And I was like, let me see how hard it is. And the composer did a great job of emulating with the synth really standard kind of classic banjo things, but some of it was ridiculously fast, especially some of the scale stuff. And I could have played it with a pick or something with a 6-string banjo, but his sample would have sounded better. So that was a situation where I recommended a friend. So if somebody called me to play on a bluegrass record, I would say absolutely not. The reason, there's a big difference between records and all the other mediums of TV, games, and movies. Records people tend to listen to over and over and over again. So if it's not amazing sounding, if it's not perfect, it'll really expose you. In a game, in a TV show, in a movie, there's almost always something going on. I've done country and bluegrassy type things for what's called source music. And what that is when music is coming from a source, I guess is the origin of that term. But basically, if you're watching a movie and somebody's, they're having a conversation in a pickup truck and the radio is playing in the truck and there's a song there, but people are talking over it and it sounds all muffled because it's coming through a crappy radio speaker in an old pickup truck. That I don't have a problem doing, and I've done a lot of those kind of things, specifically that scenario, in fact. And so that's fine because, for one thing, they don't really want ripping, fast, busy music a lot of times for source music because it distracts. It's usually going on under dialogue. So I don't even remember the song, but it was... It may have been something really, really simple like that. Just kind of more of a kind of a casual bluegrass picking kind of thing, not a show-offy bluegrass thing. And bluegrass is a lot like bebop, too. It's like, the top players, spent the weekend kind of doing a little bit of research, and some of those players are freaking awesome. So, but the great thing about bluegrass is it's something we can do on acoustic, and then if you don't have an acoustic, you can still hold grab your electric guitar. We're gonna just learn an open G scale. I wrote out, you can see there, I wrote out G scale in open position. So those hollow notes below or above the grid are the open strings. So in the G major scale, all those open strings are all fair game. They're all part of the G major scale. Let's look at this for a second. Let's look at a couple of the components. The chord progression we're going to jam over, and bluegrass has a billion different chord progressions. It's very unlike blues. Blues kind of always has that skeleton of a 12-bar blues thing. Maybe the one we worked on for the last, 4 weeks that we've worked on. That's pretty standard blues. And there's variations on that, a lot of variations on that. And so I don't want to imply that all blues is one progression. But it's much more locked to one progression than bluegrass is. And bluegrass often will have a B section. So bluegrass, again, in the jazz context is a lot like jazz tunes, because oftentimes what you have in a jazz song is two A's, a B, and an A, B, A form, which again, that's pretty standard song form up until recently. But the Beatles used it, bebop songs used it, jazz standards used it, and bluegrass songs all used it. Very, very standard thing. And it's basically A, B, A, what we would say is verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, or something like that. Did he? I didn't know Jerry Garcia started as a banjo picker. Well, that's kind of cool. That makes sense, though. A lot of players started on banjo. Django Reinhardt started on banjo because it was kind of the original loud instrument that you could play with a band before amplifiers. So, yeah, there are a lot of song forms. I mean, the chord progression there is just for our practice, and it's the one that I've uploaded. So let me find those real quick. There's two that I've done that are, hey, my sister's on. There are two that I've done. Let me get those URLs for you. All right, These speeds are pretty good. Okay, so let's see. Content. They changed that. It used to say videos. Now it says content. It totally throws me off. Okay, Bluegrass. So, all right. So it says Bluegrass Jam. Oh, and D. I forgot I did the D one. That was recent. Okay. So let's see. This one and this one. And let's see. Okay, here's the, I'm going to give you the, let's do the 100 because that's the one I have up. So 100 beats per minute. That's the jam track. So if you want to have the jam track that I'm going to be using during this lesson, you could totally do this. Hey, Italian sister, you got any dirt? Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Lee, don't do it. She's in the hospital with COVID, so everybody send her prayers and happy thoughts. Sorry, Lee, I hope that's not too much information to give. But I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. It's a slow thing. Well, I'll tell you, Jack, I remember when Jack was in the hospital for 3 weeks, our son, sleeping was almost impossible because they're constantly, things are making noise and beeping, and he had lung issues, so they were trying to keep tabs of his breathing, and man, it was just, and Lee, you got some good sleep the night before, and I was glad to hear about that. So, let's see, okay, I gotta get my windows all ordered here. Hey, we're doing pretty good. We already got, how many people do we have on? 32. All right, we're doing good. Sorry, and I'm getting a slow start today because of the internet was down. So if you look at that, that's the chord progression we're kind of going to be playing with. I'm going to mess around with some different ones. I also we may learn some songs, and I'm going to give you a great website. I'm going to give you the link here in a minute. And Dennis, is Dennis here? I don't see Dennis yet. If Dennis is here, then maybe put up the Discord link so people can see that. And then so I may do some different chord progressions as we go through this. It's going to be a long series, though. I have a feeling. We're going to try to do a riff every day that you can learn. That's going to be based on whatever scale we're working on. So that major scale there is, if you look at the red notes, those are G's. So you kind of want to know where the G's are. Okay, you got in this voicing of the scale, we have 3 G's. Okay, and let's go back and look at that G scale on the upper right here. See, I can never point in the right direction. Here we go. All right, so that's the G major scale, okay? And if you remember, the formula for a major scale was whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay, don't worry. I hope everybody has something to drink. There won't be a quiz on this. Everybody take a celebration sip. That's we have a drinking game here. Tom's, what is it? Tom command sips? I think there's 14 command sips now. If I touch my face, Lee is new to the stream, so if I touch my face, everybody gets to take a sip because that's a COVID no-no. You're not supposed to touch your face. But now I find myself touching my face. Oh, Holly, God bless you. I've learned, I've actually realized that I touch my face a lot more now whenever I'm thirsty, so it's actually backfired on me. If I use air quotes, you can take a sip. If I say I had a band in high school called, you can take a sip. If I change guitars, which may not happen very often in this series, you can take a sip. If I leave the room, that's a sip to fill in the dead air time. If I say there won't be a quiz on this, okay, and you can get these mugs if you want. I have t-shirts available too. My sister's a designer, but I had to do these myself. I should have her design me better shirts because I just got that. It's just Helvetica. It's just this on a t-shirt. And I don't know if you can order. Has anyone ever checked to see if you can order different colors? Oh, hey, Dennis, can you put up the link? Oh, you did. Thank you. I see it now. Oh, and Gary's putting up the Tom command sips. If I touch my face, if I refer to myself in the third person, let's see. If I exchange guitars, if I use air quotes, if I forget that I'm in a weird tuning, if I say I had a band in high school called something, if I say I play guitar in Apex Legends, that's also, if I leave this to the room. Gary's made it very, very King Jamesy. Okay, so, but it wouldn't be now I said there's no quiz on the formula for the G major scale, but it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to memorize the notes in the G major scale. It's pretty simple. It's just G, A, B, C, D, E. The only thing you have to remember is the F sharp. And at some point, in fact, very soon, we'll do a G Mixolydian scale, which also sounds really good in this chord progression, but it clashes a little bit. But this scale will not clash. Now remember, in the blues, we had 3 7th chords, dominant 7th chords. We had a G7, we had a C7, and a D7. And all 3 of those chords are in 3 different keys, right? The G7 was the 5 chord in the key of C, the C7 was the 5 chord in the key of F, and the D7 chord was the 5 chord in the key of G. No quiz on this. You can take another sip if you want. But we talked about that at length, and that's why we kind of wanted to create some scales that would maybe fit better over the chords when they change to different chords. But in this context, we have just major triads. So it's just G, C, and D. All right, and if you don't know a G chord, you can play it like this, which is kind of how we play it today, mostly. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 3rd fret, 3rd fret. Okay, and but in the old school day, like if you listen to some old Bob Dylan things, he played it oftentimes with the B string open. And nobody was interested in buying Bob Dylan's catalog. I heard it sold this week for $300 million. Nobody was really interested in that. But sometimes I like the sound of that. And then a lot of times I won't play the A string because it just gets a little muddy. It gets a little muddy down there to have that B note down there with the G. So if you're playing this without that 5th string, you really don't even have a 3rd in there. But a G chord is G, B, D. So if you look at the G major scale, you can see the G, the B, and the D, right? It's the 1st, the 3rd, and the 4th or 5th note in the scale. Kind of why you say root 1, 3, 5 when you're talking about triads. Okay, the C chord, and we don't play the bottom string if you're new to guitar. Generally, that note actually is an E, so it technically is. Some people play C like this, so they can kind of strum more of it, and that's putting a G in the bottom. But if you play 3rd fret on the 5th string, then 2nd fret, open, 1st fret, and open, that's a standard C chord, okay? And then you could also put your pinky up here if you wanted that G up there. You know, I kind of like the sound of that. Yeah, that's where the F sharp ends. It sounds kind of nice over the C. It's interesting. It's haunting, right? And then the D chord, right? Okay, the D chord is starting on the 4th string, open, 2, 3, 2. Okay, so that's all the basic stuff. Thanks to Dennis for posting that again. Yeah, and if you're going to join the Discord, try to use the same name you're using, if at all possible. Use the same name you're using for YouTube, for Discord, so we know who you are, all right? It makes it a lot easier to communicate and everything. Almost everybody here I see in the chat, I see their real name. Gearview's here. And I haven't said proper hellos yet. Rich Johnson, how's it going? Oh yeah, no, I don't have any Bob Dylan tutorials. Although, thanks, Rich. I do want to do. I was trying to do. Remember, I started. I've done 2 so far. A series on John Lennon's favorite strumming pattern. I used air quotes. So let's take a sip. John Lennon's favorite strumming groove, and who is the other one? Neil Young's favorite strumming groove. And John Lennon's was kind of the 6/8, right? He's like. 1, 2, 1, 2. He really likes 6/8. They say this is Christmas, that song, or whatever. Christmas is here, war is over, Christmas is here, or something. That is also in 6/8. Norwegian Wood is in 6/8. So there's quite a few John Lennon songs that are 6/8, and then what was the other one? I can look those up and post those in a second here. So Oh, and this is somebody asking what kind of guitar. This is a 35. This is a D35, if anyone's wondering. And somebody said, oh, because it's got a 3-piece back, that's what the 3 means. I don't know, because the 45 doesn't have a 4-piece back, but somebody said that. But yeah, this is a 70s, and the pick guard's totally thrashed. You can see that. See if you can see that. But I bought this at Guitar Center, and it was kind of an abused child, and it's kind of my main guitar, my main acoustic. I've used this on a lot of things. So when we look at the D chord, the D triad, we have D, F sharp, A. Now, if we were to kind of, let's say we didn't have the G major scale, but we had the 3 chords. If we were to create a scale out of the three chords and put the notes in order, it would create a G major scale. And every single note that's in those triads is in that scale, okay? So basically what you have is a scale that's very, very friendly to all of these chords. And you can just literally, and I was kind of doing it, like I said, I'm not like a shredding bluegrass player. Let's see if I can get this a little bit more guitar in here. Okay, there we go. I'm not a shredding guitar player on the bluegrass thing, but I said, what was it, last Monday, or was it the Friday before, where I said, what do you guys want to do next? Because we've done 140 lessons. And I always ask you when we're coming to an end of a series, what you want to do next. And somebody said, and I think a couple of you said it, and I think maybe Holly, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, well, what do you want to learn? Because you all know that I say this all the time, the best way to learn something is to teach it. And, oh, that's awesome, Bruce, 42, that's great. And so one of the best ways to learn something is teach wise, which is why I'm always encouraging you, even if you're a beginner, to find someone who's never played guitar and just show them how to play some basic chords and some strum patterns and things like that. Because for you to be able to articulate it to someone else, you'll understand it better. And also it just gives you an excuse to have a guitar in your hand. And if you're an intermediate, I certainly was an intermediate at best when I started teaching and making actual money teaching guitar lessons. I started teaching when I was 15. I think I was at high school. I was just in high school. And so, yeah. Let's see. So, so what are you saying, Dara? I should, because Tom has asked a few times. We got to lead by example with the newbies. Yes. Benatti, what's going on? Benatti, you're in Morocco, is that correct, I think? That's right. Holly, you're the one that had that quote. Yeah, to learn, read, to understand, write, to master, teach. That's some smarty pants, right? It wasn't me. Although I am wearing pants. Pants are confirmed. I've threatened to not wear pants sometime, but you can always, because of my guitar, you can always see my pants. So I can't really do that. Okay, Rich. Okay, all right. Yeah, I imagine if you're new to Discord, it's easy to create a similar username. But if you've been on Discord for a while, it's hard to change your username. So, that's like we say, if it's all possible. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, this guitar just sounds great. I love this guitar. Okay, so we've got 3 chords, and every one of the notes in those chords is represented in this scale. So let's get your guitar out, and we're going to start on the G note here on the bottom. And we did this scale recently. We did open. I think I did a whole series on open scales. So this is going to be some redundant teaching, but this is all redundant teaching is always good. I'm doing that Duolingo thing, and I'm always glad when they reiterate things I already kind of know, but they go over it and over it and over it. And particularly your mistakes, which is one of the great things about that software, is it goes over your mistakes. Okay, so Casablanca. Amazing. It's so cool. You're from Casablanca. I'm sorry, but that just seems really cool. Okay. So we're going to start on that note, but there are notes below that are fair game. And a lot of times if I'm going to G, I might go, right? Kind of as a lead in. So you can do that right now. Hit the open E, hit the F sharp with your second finger, and then hit the G. That's not going to be our first lick, though. I'll give you a real usable lick that we can do. What would I wear other than pants? I don't even own a pair of shorts. Maybe swim trunks. I never wear shorts. Not a kilt. I should. But if I go to see, if I go to who's in Scotland again? Thank you for the pants, Tom. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, what strings are on my? These are Elixir lights. So I think the top string is 12, and then the bottom string is 52, maybe. I think. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's 52. 56 would be the heavies. And these are pretty old strings. You can tell they're really getting pretty kind of gross. But I kind of like them as they get older. And the great thing about Elixirs, and I do endorse them, so in a way, I guess I endorse them. I mean, they don't pay me money. They give me good deal on strings, and I get a box a year every year. And I don't think I took my box last year. David, that's you. If I visit you, David, you'll have to loan me a kilt to wear in Scotland. But the great thing about Elixir strings is they do sound like, well, kind of, I don't want to say dead strings, but they just sound like day-old strings the minute you put them on, and they stay that way. I used to use Ernie Balls and Martin strings back in the day, way back in the day. And they would sound great for about a day, really super duper bright for a day, and then they would totally change tone within a day because my hand sweat's so acidic. And so when Elixirs came along with the coated strings, that really helped as far as getting me, getting me more longevity out of my strings, especially since I have so many guitars and so many of them are sitting in the closet, sometimes for a year, like my Rickenbacker 12 string. I know that when I pull it out of the closet, the strings are going to be fine because they're Elixirs and they've just been sitting there. So, good, Paul Meyer, good to see you. I don't know if Lee is on or not. I don't know if she has a handle on YouTube or not. But my sister's on right now, and Paul, my sister was with us when we went up to Michigan that one time. So we have, let's see. Boop, boop, okay. So we're starting on the G note. We're just starting at the very beginning, Paul. So you haven't missed anything really. I'm 42 minutes in. How long has this been going? How long have I been in? And I'm just now getting the lesson. 27 minutes. No. Actually, I've been talking about the key, the scale. So, and we're probably going to work on the scale for at least 2 lessons, maybe 3 for this whole week, and then we'll bring in a new scale. But I've got something other different diagrams to show you, and I will upload all the diagrams, particularly, dang it, this thing. And I have 2 more of these that are coming today that I'm going to post here in a second. I'll put all of those up in the Discord. So if you go to the Discord, you can go to Tom's Bookmarks, and you can download all the JPEGs. You can download anything I create, even handwritten stuff. I scan and upload the PDF to Tom's Bookmarks on the Discord. Okay, so let's start with the scale. Here we go. 3rd fret on the bottom, that's G. Okay, I'm just going to give you fret numbers for now and fingers, and then we'll do it again as I'll give you the notes because I want you to start to learn the note names as much as possible, particularly in open position. Okay, here we go. 3rd fret, and then open A string, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, and we're totally position playing, so 3rd fret will always be played by your 3rd finger. Open D string, 2nd fret of the D string, pinky out here, get that F sharp, that's the 4th fret, and then open G, and then 2nd fret, oops, and that's A, 2nd fret with the 2nd finger, open B string, 1st fret with the 1st finger, 3rd fret, open, yep, this is a G major scale, and then F sharp, and a G on top, okay? It's very Western, Benatti. I'm not getting my oud out for you, and we're not doing some macams that are like quarter tones and all that. Okay, so backwards, 3 2 0. Okay, then 3 1 0. 2 0. 4 2 0. 3-2-0, and then G3, okay? And the great thing is the fret numbers correspond with the finger numbers. So I really only need to tell you one. We're going to do it again here in a second. I only need to tell you one, and it applies to both, because we're technically playing in what's called first position, meaning our first finger is assigned the first fret. Okay, if we were move up a fret and play every note was at the, if we were playing a scale that was here with the first finger at the second fret, then this would be called second position, because your first finger is assigned the second fret. But our first finger is going to be assigned the first fret, and consequently our second finger is going to play the second fret, third finger is the third fret, fourth finger is the fourth fret. So they all have to be in charge of doing things. You can see there's only one note on the fourth fret, on the fourth string there, and there's only one note on the first fret. So your first finger is only going to get to play one note in this scale, and your pinky is only going to get to play. Most of the work is going to be done by your second finger, which I won't isolate, and your third finger, which I will isolate. Okay? So here we go. We're going to do this again. Wood stove season. Hey, John was wondering, let's see. In the scale diagrammed above, what are some notes missing that are otherwise in the standard G4 major scale, like an open B or open... well, the open B, all those notes are... all the open strings are represented. John, and don't get ahead of us, okay? We're going to do one scale. We're going to start adding notes to scales, or doing pentatonics and blues and major blues pentatonics and minor blues pentatonics. We're going to do Mixolydian Scale. We're also going to do... We've got a lot of different scale forms that are going to come up in this. But the idea is... what's very polite of me? Hope that's not sarcasm. So... I don't know how well I do in Morocco. I probably... Okay, so there's a scale. I'm going to switch to my Wiegand Bluegrass pick, okay? This is the Wiegand Bluegrass pick. I like it. This is the Django, this is Gypsy Jazz pick. I like it because I love the sound of this thing. You can hear it. But this is... I'm going to be using these, and... if you go to Wiegand, you should be able to... you go to WiegandPicks.com, I think. They're made in the Netherlands. So, Dennis, maybe you can drive over and just pick one up, get a sample. But they're very well made, and they sound great, but they're a little more expensive. And I thought I would lose it, but I've really not lost many of them. I used to lose picks all the time when I bought cheap picks, but once I started buying expensive picks, I stopped losing them. Okay, so I'm going to try to... one of the things... I was noticing this week when I was watching a lot of bluegrass videos in preparation for this series is that most bluegrass players kind of play with their free hand. In other words, their hand's not touching the top of the guitar at all, which is a really good thing for classical players. You're not supposed to touch the top. You don't want to hinder the vibration of the top. That's where your tone comes from. So if you're putting your hand... See, I tend to anchor my hand. Now, I can anchor my hand really light, but I do tend to put this part of the heel of my palm on the bridge, just so I have a frame of reference. I saw some players, they would put their pinky, some great players would put their pinky there, okay? So a couple of people said they would do that, but it made it difficult. They would feel tension when they were trying to hit the bottom two strings, because it was kind of a far reach. But the reason players would put their pinky here is, again, for that, to kind of center yourself, to be able to find the strings, because you're not always going to be playing a scale straight up and down. If you are, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more free with my hand so that it's not touching so much, but I'm going to get lazy or forget it, or I'm going to get busy talking, and I'm not going to really pay attention to what I'm doing, and I'm going to find myself resting it. So this is one of those things where you might want to do as I say, not as I do. I'm going to try to get that, but it also means I'll play sloppier, and I kind of don't want to be too sloppy for our lessons, okay? That's not where my heel is. Lee chimes in. The heel, I don't know what that's called. What part of the hand is that? I thought that was the heel of the palm. I don't know. Let's play the scale again, but this time I'm going to give you note names. And this is what I want you to try to remember these. So we're going to start on G. We're going to play A, B, C. And and then D, E, F sharp. You got to reach out to that F sharp. And then, open G, A, and then A, C. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Okay? Yeah, right? Oh, you can't. Yeah, so I kind of, as long as it's behind the strings, it's not an issue. I wish I had developed early on the technique where I wasn't. It might be too late in my life to really change that major aspect of my playing, because another problem with putting your heel on the bridge is when you're playing like a guitar like my G&L with a whammy bar, you can sometimes bend the strings out of tune. You're like, why am I out of tune? I'm just like, oh, because my hand's resting too heavy on the bridge. Okay, so let's play this again. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now, I'm not sure if John was... I'm not sure if John was referencing this, but I'm gonna bring in another scale here into the OBS software here. All right, number 2. Boop. And the only difference here, all right, is that I've put a ghost note there where the B is. See, you notice if you're playing the D string, you got D, E, F sharp. And if you're going to do that, you might as well play G, A, and B here. Because you get this nice B-C kind of relationship that you can do. But totally fine to use the open string. I like using the open string because it makes some stuff really fast. Now, one of the problems, again, with open scales, and when we did the whole series on open scales, it's the right hand. Sometimes if your right hand is really good at playing, if you've got really good coordination between your right and your left hand, it's oftentimes because you're playing scales where every note you're plucking is something that you're picking, and so every time I'm picking a string, I'm pushing down a string with my left hand. That's not the case with open strings. It's weird. You've got notes that you're playing that you're not actually doing anything over here with your left hand, that you're plucking with your right hand. You're not doing anything with your left hand to create that note. So when you go from, like John, if you're not familiar at all with bluegrass, you probably don't play a lot of open string chords. Oh, we've got 58 viewers. That's awesome, guys. This is great. We may hit a record today. Yeah, Lee is... I just texted Lee because she's bored in the hospital. You guys, seriously, she's in the hospital with COVID in Boston. And I know you probably don't want me telling people that. No, I don't. Well, it's just the internet. Nobody knows. You're distracting, Tony. Okay, so that's fine. You guys can have your own conversation about Yosemite. I've never been. I've lived in California since 1983, and I've never been to Yosemite. And I called it Yosemite for the longest time. I'm like, Ricky, Yosemite? Where the heck is that? I've never heard of Yosemite. So anyway. Okay, so let's do a lick. I'm going to show you a real simple lick that we can use that works great over the G chord. And it works over the C chord because we're going to land on a G note. And that's part of the reason why I have the triads written out, so that you can see, like, okay, if you're playing over a G chord, good landing notes could be G, B, or D. Okay? I could do a lick that goes, I could do a lick that goes, which is that ghost note up there. See that? I slid up to that. I might actually do that more likely, sounds really good, then go, have that open string, it's like, you know, or you know, and then you can put a little vibrato on it. You can't put vibrato on an open string without pushing that. I can do that and go out of tune. Okay, so here's the lick, and it's hit the open A string. So we're gonna miss some notes in the scales. This is gonna be almost more of a pentatonic lick. So I probably should save it for when we do the pentatonic scale. But anyway, it's fine. Open A, 2nd fret, open D, 2nd fret, and open G. Okay? So, and what I want you to try to do is be really consistent with your alternate picking. Another thing, you know, like I'm giving you so many things to think about. It's like when you take that first golf lesson and you're standing there and you're working on your drive and he tells you 17 things to do. It's like, okay, now hook your pinky through the now don't bend the elbow, and now keep your head down and do, you know, and pull back. And it's like, oh my gosh, too many things to think about. And then that first swing goes and the ball just goes 3 feet in front of you. Okay, but what I want you to try to do is keep the alternating picking, because another thing that bluegrass players are really good at is fast picking. And one of the secrets of that is to always be down, up, down, up, down, up, okay? But we are very strict about down up. A lot of times it's on the, like if we're playing fast 8th notes, it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Yeah, Rich, sorry to hear that. Yeah, my mother-in-law also has it and is having a hard time because she's just got like horrible nausea. So they're a little worried because it hasn't subsided at all. But she's not in the hospital. They're treating from home at this point. And the good thing is my brother-in-law is also there with his wife, and she's a nurse. And she had the exact same symptoms. She had the nausea. She just has gotten over it. So hopefully Emily, my mother-in-law, is shortly there. So you want to think down, up, down, up, down. Okay, we're going to do a variation on this. But I'm going down, up, down, up, down. Now if it was 16th notes, same thing. 1 E and it doesn't change anything. It just, now, one variation we can do on that. So again, the lick is open A, B, D, E, G. And that works great. Right? Okay, now the other thing we can do is hammer-ons. Okay? And one of the things you want to do, though, with hammer-ons is you want to keep the timing the same. All right? Again, I'm working on trying to keep my hand over the... One thing, too, I hold the pick too tight, my hand gets tired. Now, if you were... So what I'm doing is I'm hammering on my 2nd finger on the 2nd fret. And the closer you are to the fret, don't be on the fret, but just right behind it, you're more likely to get a good tone. Okay? Let the fret do the work. You're just bringing your finger down, and then same thing on the next string. Open D to hammer on the E, and then hit the G. You know, you can do it. You don't need to hammer it down too hard, because again, the harder you play, the digger hole you deep, the harder it is to get out of that hole. So the lighter you play, the faster you can play ultimately. Now, again, notice I'm keeping 1 and 2 and 3, or 1 E and a 2, 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you'll see that we have a really nice community that we've developed here since since was it March 16th was the first one. Okay, now if the temptation is to not give the open string value, okay, and play and hammer on too soon. Those would be grace notes. Those wouldn't be hammer-ons. I wouldn't call those hammer-ons. I mean, they're hammer-ons, but they're those would be grace notes. In other words, you just at that A string for a second. And there's times when you want to do that, but we want to play it very, very evenly. And you can even finish it up with a G chord. It would be a good ending. Okay, very, very simple. In fact, you can even start with a G note if you wanted. I mean, the common one, we're going to learn that one. That one's a lot of fun, and that one's so standard. You hear every bluegrass player play it. But we're going to learn that one when we learn the major blues pentatonic, okay? Which is not really the major blues scale. We'll call it the major blues scale, okay? Yeah, so what you want to do is go slow, maybe with a metronome. Play it, I would play it, alternate, go. So if you have a short memory span, you can, hopefully it'll last that long, so you can remember what it sounds like when you play each note individually and hey, Dashmere, what's going on? Oh my gosh, are you really watching all? Are you putting up with all of this? That's crazy, Dashmere. If I had a hat, I'd take it off to you. I will sip to you. Cheers. I mean, that's good for me. It's, you know, these videos are monetized, so I make a little bit of money. I really don't make much from these. I mean, I think we looked at some of these, and I think I've made anywhere from $2 to $4 on these live streams. So, you know, but they're up there forever. It is bringing traffic to my site. And so if those live streams, if you think about it, I've got I've done 100. This is 145th. If each one of them made me $2 a month, then that would be $300 a month of extra income. So, okay, go get your backyard all cleaned up. Hey, David. Well, good to see you. That's awesome. And you know, David, the lessons are kind of all over the map because I'm just kind of, as far as the what you're learning, you know, I should at some point maybe go through and say, if you're a beginner, do these, you know, first, and then work your way up to these. I really, there's no particular order, but hopefully, okay, that's great. I'm glad. And you're on live now, so you won't have to watch this one later. Okay, so who was it that was saying, oh, John Kindon's here. Hey. So let me put this jam track on again. So this is just a jam track that I created, and it's just that chord progression that you see right here, okay? Really hard to point, right there. You want to play along? If I just play the G scale, it works. But it's a little bit like, where are you going? If you just kind of randomly play the scale. It's better as we go through these, and again, we're going to learn scales to play to the chords. But right now we're doing the playing one scale over the entire chord progression. And you should be able to create great melodies with this. Billions of songs have been written with those two combinations, okay? A major chord, a major scale, and the 1, 4, 5 chord. again, you asked me to. You said, "What do you want to learn, Tom?" And I said, "Well, I want to work on my bluegrass playing." And they said, "Well, teach on that." I'm like, "Okay, there you go." So basically, I really tried hard. I think I hit that B flat once, but I tried hard to stick with that scale so you could hear how it sounded. But I did. It sounds a lot better when you take into consideration what chords you're playing over. Okay. So I did a third scale, okay, so I'm going to make these smaller, okay, and I've got to upload these to the Discord. So I'm going to drag this up here, and this third one is a pretty big image, so I may even have to make these smaller than I have, but let's see if I can get away with it. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, and I did something, I think Bruce maybe at one point asked for something like this. So, I can put this here for now. Okay, so what that one is, and let me go, I'm going to go to the Discord right now. Put down my guitar. Okay, so now that the internet's okay. All right, so Discord, where are you? Oh, and I wanted to put, somebody was asking about something. What was it? I wanted to upload that video too. Okay, so it's in Tom's bookmarks. I'm going to upload right now. In fact, I think the best way to do it is I just drag over. That's the fastest way. Yeah, upload. Okay, so they're all there. Now this new scale that I just dropped in is kind of busy looking. There's a lot of information there, but basically what I'm trying to show you is here's the G scale that you see in the first diagram. But it's the exact same scale, but I changed the color of the roots of the three chords. The three chords are G, C, and D. So the roots are G, C, and D. The roots of the chords are the name of the chord. Oh, see, I got to close the Discord. Sorry. All right. So, oh, should I have grabbed that link? Sorry. And the jam track I was just using, see if I still have it on my clipboard. I do. Okay, is that. So if you want to listen to that jam track to practice your bluegrass G scale here, do that. That's a good. It's 100 beats per minute. There's another one up there that's 120 beats per minute. And I did one in D recently too. So but that would be a different series of chords, or scales and stuff. Okay, so what I did was I made the G notes are all red. The green notes, the blue notes are C's, and the purple notes are D's. All right, you can see that little what's that called? The legend at the bottom there. And so the point of that is that, okay, if the progression now goes to C chord, then maybe make it land on C's a little more, or in this case, you can land any of those notes in the C triad, C, E, and G. Okay, so the triad names are right there. It's so hard to do this pointing thing. It's the opposite of what I want to do. So you can see the three notes there. Any of those notes are good landing notes. So the G is in that one. So cool. You're like, cool, I can land on G. Up in the G chord, we got G, B, D. Okay, so you could land. A good landing note is B, or a starting note, starting or stopping note, B, G, B, D. Any of those will work. Same thing with the C chord. So when the C chord's playing, and the difference between this and we still have a lot of G's. Remember the blues? When we looked at the blues progression, the one chord was half of the progression. The four chord was like a third, and then there was 1/6 of the progression was D chords, or the 5 chord. In this case, we got a little bit more 4s and 5s, I think. It's a little bit more evenly spread out, but we still have a lot of G's. A lot of the 1 chord. G is the 1. And so this is a 1-4-5 progression, and you're going, well, why is it called a 1-4-5 progression? Well, because it's the chord, it's got the chord built on the 1, which if you look at the G major scale, the first note is G. If you count up the G major scale, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 notes up from the beginning of the scale is a C note. And so you build a chord on that using the scale, and you get C, and that's the 4 chord. And then if you go up 5, G, A, B, C, D, you get the D note, okay? Okay, you get that D note, and that is the 5, and if you build a chord on that, every other note. And if you want to know about chord theory, we did a series on chord theory quite a while ago, but very early in this live stream. But you can go to my live streams, and if you search the word chord, we talked about chord theory, and I had you make a bunch of chords and stuff like that. We learned all about it. So, oh, good. This should help you play your favorite Neil Young songs. Okay, so one of the things, like if you're playing G, landing on a G note works great. Then it goes to C. Then you got to lick like that. You know, I started on the G note, which is in the C chord, and I ended on a C note. Okay? That sounds really inside. Or I could go like that, and that's a great thing. You can do it, try a lick, or play the chord, play the lick, and then play the chord again. And you kind of can go, okay, yeah, that works over that. And then C, yeah, that works. D, you go, no, yeah, that works. Or you can just experiment around. We're going to come up with some licks. And one of the things too is, again, the whole concept of soloing being these multiple forked roads that you take comes into play here. Who's an international spy? I'm an international. Oh, you just got into fact incognito browser. That's funny. It's all good. Okay, so all right. So let's play. Okay, and here's the other thing. If I play that G major scale, and this goes back to our modes lesson, all right? If I play the G major scale, going from the G note to the G note. So if I go from one red note to the next red note, that's the G scale that works over the G chord. Okay. If I go to the C and I play the G major scale, but I play from C to C. Don't worry about this. There's no quiz on this. Okay, that's C Lydian. There won't be a quiz on this, but that is a C Lydian scale. But you're going like, what? That's a G scale. Yeah. A G scale starting on C is C Lydian. Okay, if I go to D and play the D to D, if I play that, that is a D Mixolydian scale. And I like the sound of that better than the C Lydian scale over the C. I find that the F natural sounds really good over the C, but we're going to get there. That's going to be a natural byproduct of when we go to the G Mixolydian scale. That's one of the scales we're going to learn, and we're going to woodshed. Woodshedding just means going out in the shed and practicing, closing the door so nobody can hear you because you're going to be playing some bad notes. That's what woodshedding is. I first heard the term in reference to Charlie Parker used to call it shedding. And musicians just say, hey, I got a shed. Okay, Holly. Oh, so the light bulb just went on about the modes. Yeah, that's all. So, I'm going to play the jam track. So C chord, G, it's hard to do, but let me bracket. Let me just bracket one chord here. One second. Okay, so we're just gonna have a G scale or G chord. Hold on. It's gonna get annoying, but. And the other cool thing about don't forget that, sorry, let me turn this off for a second. Don't forget on the jam tracks, check this out. So, if I open this up, okay, it's going to be an
Disney
ad.
Plus. Who?
Hold on, let me mute this for just a second. You can slow it down. Don't forget. I forget who was pointed that out originally, but yeah, you can slow this down. So if 100, I can take the speed, playback speed, and you can do it at 75% of normal, which would mean it would be, it's at 75. Isn't that cool? I can't even do that with my software without without rebouncing all the things, the tracks. I can go down to 50%. So that's a great tool that YouTube gives you basically for free. Okay, so now I'm going to bracket the C chord, and let's listen to the C Lydian scale. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to play C to C in that G major scale. Okay, and those three scales up there, don't let that freak you out. They're the exact same scale. Oh, I forgot to hit play. Dang it. Okay, here's C. It's kind of annoying, but it gets us to it. It sounds really weird in this context because when you have a C chord by yourself, you think the song is in, the G. Yeah, I broke a G string before. It's very painful. You don't know that you're in the key of G when you're just hearing this C chord ring out, right? So your context is missing here. You're just playing the second bar of this scale, this chord progression right here. The bar. See, I can't point to the C there. So it just sounds like you're playing some weird thing. If I played a C major scale over it, it'd sound like this. It sounds much better, okay? But today we're learning the G major scale. So, all right, now let's go to a D chord. So if I bracket the fourth bar of the progression, just loop that. There's our 5 chord, D. D is our 5 chord, okay? This sounds great. So the snippet of if we go D to D in the G scale, we're getting a D Mixolydian scale, which sounds great over D. That's just awesome. Okay, deal with me. D. Okay, open D. 2nd fret, 4th fret. G, A, B, C, D. I'm gonna go slower. I'm gonna do 1 bar per. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, D. 2, 3, 4, D. 2. F sharp. G. A. We could do the B here. B. C here. That's the great note. Yeah, I would never be able to be a weatherman. But it sounds great. Needs cowbell. Don't tempt me. I don't have, oh, I do have the brush kit up. Oh, there it is. Your wish is my command. All right, so I'm going to grab this and highlight all this. Okay. Let's go back to this. All right. Yeah, there was a vibra slapping. Bongos. Go-go bells. All right. So, yeah, so I don't want you to necessarily overthink this. I want you to practice this scale, try to get it up to speed, try to use alternate tuning. Alternate picking. All right. We're not going to go alternate tuning. That brings in too many elements. Well, if you have a Mac, you probably have, it comes with GarageBand, and I'm sure there's a drum program that has all those percussion toys. Okay, so, one of the best SNL skits of all time, especially for musicians. Now that is actually using this G scale, the dueling banjos lick. Probably kind of what this chord progression is from. I mean, it's a very, very standard chord progression. Hey, Sander. The last one sounds ugly with me. What was that? Yeah, there's a lot of ugly. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I know, right? I'll just snip out that piece. I'm not sure. I don't think dueling banjos is public domain yet. It's not been around long enough. Just so you know, I'm still batting 1,000 with the copyright things. So I've still have no copyright strikes against me. I'm very careful about that. Hey, James Whitaker, good to see you. Okay. So let's play these scales again. I'm going to do G major, okay, 3rd fret, open, 2nd, 3rd, open, 2nd, 4, open, 2nd. Let's do 4 here, and then 1st finger on the 1st fret, 3rd, open, 2nd, and 3rd, and backwards, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2. 3, 1. And then let's reach out here and do 4, 2, 0. 4, 2, 0. And then 3, 2, 0. And then 3. Dang it. Let's start on the C note, and let's play C to C. So C is on the 3rd fret of the 4th, 5th string, sorry. Okay, then open the 2nd and 4th, and open 2nd and 4th, and then there you go, 1st and then 3rd. Oh wait, no, stop on the C. So we have C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C. Basically a C Lydian scale. It's a common scale for movie scores. see, you can totally hear a movie score doing something like that. Sanders, I have a question. I'm trying to do bar chords, but I can't. How can I fix it? Well, let me get a video. I did 2 videos. One called "That Darn." It's just easier for me to direct you to a well thought out. Because if I try to show you now, I'll forget the things. Because when I created these videos, when I created the video, I sat down and go, okay, this is what I want to teach. When I'm doing these live streams, so here's the video. When I'm doing the live streams, it's stream of consciousness. So we've hit over 60. That's great. Let's see. So here's the, hey, Easy, what's going on? This is the how to play the F chord, or help with the F chord, okay? Hopefully it'll help. And then the B chord, actually, in my opinion, is harder. So that one's called "That Darn F Chord." And then I did one called "Son of a B Chord." There we go. And here's that one. So open those up, save those, and hopefully that'll help you, Sander. Both of those hopefully will kind of touch on playing bar chords, because it is kind of frustrating. Fortunately, in this series, we're really not going to be doing bar chords at all. We may be doing little chord shapes, because we're going to talk about using chords. Let's come up with some more licks, though. Let's see, a G. So we could do that. I'm just doing a little piece of the G major scale. I'm starting on the G note, 3rd string, the G string lead, G, A, and then open B, C, and D. And I'm starting on the G note and ending on the D note. So those are both notes that are good in the G chord. And again, it's a good little practice maybe to hit a chord, do the lick, and hit the chord again. Yeah, and Sander, come back, watch those videos. If you're still struggling, let me know. And the other thing, you can, at some point, gosh, when everything opens back up, you can get in front of a guitar teacher. It's really, really hard to teach Zoom lessons, to be honest. I mean, I can't tell you how often I've wanted to reach into the screen and push someone's finger. You know, you can't do that. So, so we have, okay. We could also go, right? So instead of continuing in the G scale, I went backwards. So I went G, A, B, C, and then back to B. And that's because that's a note in the G chord. I could do that here with the, that's a very common lick. Okay, the open D, play the D string, 2nd fret, E, open, and G, A, and then there. That's also a lick that we would do in a pentatonic shape. But it's totally right inside that. It's the middle 2 strings of the G major scale. Okay? And again, the 3 different scales are, the first one, the very one up in the, very top, the one in the corner. That one is just a G major scale written out like, and the red notes are G's. The bottom one there is same scale, but I put the B there as a ghost note. So you know that you could hit, instead of hitting this open B, you can hit that note. Yeah, Allman Brothers are great. Gwen got it. My other sister got me hooked on the Allman Brothers. Anything my older sister was into, I pretty much got into. I mean, she was obviously into the Beatles. Into the Monkees. She would often sell me her old records that she didn't like anymore. So I would end up buying them. And then the 3rd scale there, the one I made bigger, all that is the same exact scale, nothing groundbreaking there, except what I did was I made sure that the C's and the D's were also notated, so that you can see that you've got the root of the 4 chords where those are and the root of the 5 chords where those are, okay? But I've talked about Lee before in the past on the stream. I remember Lee was into like totally into new wave music before I was. When I was in high school, I was a jazz snob. And remember, I just told you about this the other day when I went to LA to check it out to see if I wanted to live here in '82. I met a guitar player named Carl Verheyen, who's many of you know, and took a lesson with him. And I went to his house, and he was an amazing guitar player. And on his turntable was Synchronicity by the Police. And I'm like, what are you listening to that pop for? And he said, are you kidding you how many people pay me to sound like Andy Summers? And I'm like, oh. So at that point, when I got home from California, I had 6 more months of living in Indiana. And Lee, you were, let's see, I would have been, I just turned 21, so you would have been right around 16 and 17. And so you were getting into, you were really into actually much more artistic music than the groundbreaking new wave music that was coming up from England mostly. Like XTC was one of your favorite bands, I remember that. And so then I was like, okay, now I need to start listening to this stuff. So I was a little bit more aware of what you were listening to because I realized that that was actually probably what I'm going to be doing more than jazz when I got to California. So Synchronicity. Oh, yeah. See, you even went to see them. See, I didn't want to know about that. I never saw the Police. But the funny thing was, I bought Synchronicity, and then I bought the one before that, which was Ghost in the Machine. I bought them backwards, and I actually ended up liking the first one even better. The first one, which was that Outlandish de Amor, or see, Zenyatta Mandata was the third one, I think. Ghost in the Machine was the fourth one. Outlandish de Amor, and then I forget. So I think Outlandish de Amor was the first one. And I remember my neighbor Mark Ramey, he had that one, and he played it for me, and it was like reggae, and I'm like, why are you listening to reggae music? It sounded like reggae to me, and that was pretty early. Yeah, Fields of Gold is a great song. And I'm out of tune again. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to show you a lick I like to do over the D chord. So the D chord's playing. I love that little piece of the G major scale. And so what I'm doing is I'm starting on the F sharp here. So I'm on the 4th fret of the 4th string. And then open G, 2nd fret. So, and then I go, this time I am using the B, open B. I really like the sound. The open strings sound great in bluegrass context. And so I'm going to the C. And that's not in the D chord, but that's the 7th. So sometimes the one dominant 7th chord that's in the key of G is the D7. So you can play it, you can imply it when the D7 is happening, okay? So I got this. Okay? See how that works really nice. Maybe work that one up too, so you have the transition from the D to the G. So what I did was, this is hard, but you can get it. So I'm doing that scale. So that little snippet of the G major scale, F sharp, A, G, A, B, C, is what we play over the D chord. But if we have that D chord in the bottom there, where it's only there for 2 beats, that gives us a good little lick to go from D to G. Oh, you see that? Okay, so it's D or F sharp. Get that pinky out there, and then open G, A, B, C, B, A, and then we're not going to go to the open G, we're going to go to the F sharp, and then to the open G. So we're kind of bracketing the G note by playing A, F sharp, G, okay? It's a little bit of a finger twister. Yeah, it's tough. And you want to try to stick with the pure down, up, down. You know, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So that you're going to have to really go slow. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It's easy slow. It's harder fast. Yeah. It's, you know, whenever you're picking and you're fingering, it's easy when you have like 2 notes per string, like pentatonic scales, or 3 notes per string, like threepers, you know. The 2 hands seem to lock much faster. I was watching a video interview with Lee Ritenour, and he was doing his warm-ups before a show, and he was just going, he was doing the, remember our pinky exercise? But he was just kind of, he was doing that, he was doing little versions of it. But he said the reason was he wanted to get the 2 hands locked together before the concert. From Darren. Where is that question? Oh, there it is. Tom, when doing this open scale, do you ever go up to the 5th fret to let the now sing out? I'm assuming you should note sing out instead of utilizing just the open. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing basics right now. But yeah, I mean, if I were to not think about, if I were to play without thinking about trying to stay within this scale, right here, at the thing, you know, because right now I'm just trying to show one scale, but whenever, you know, we're, you know, but yeah, when I'm not restricting myself to one scale for your benefit, I would do all of that. Yeah, I'm showing off. But I'm not a good bluegrass player. See, I missed the C chord there. I'm gonna tell you where I screwed up. Lesson 1: don't tell people where you're messing up. Don't point out your mistakes. Yeah, someday it'll be. Yeah, I would love that to be effortless. And that's the other thing I noticed. I mean, seriously, you've got 12-year-old kids that can play circles around me in the bluegrass realm. You got, I mean, 7-year-old kids that can do it. And they all look bored, right? Remember I told you, I said one of the secrets to playing fast is to literally, I think it literally has a physiological effect. And this is true. They say if you smile a lot, you're happier. I don't know if you've heard that or not, but that's a recent study. The more you smile, the happier you feel. Like the act of smiling actually releases the, what is it, the endorphins or whatever it is that makes you feel happier. The heroin in your system, it comes out and makes you happy. Okay? And the same thing, but it's funny because I've noticed, it's any of the, like the bluegrass kids that are like stupid fast, and even the adults, they're just kind of like, you know, they're like shredding, you know, like, you know, whatever. I can't do it. I can't do it. But they looked completely dopamine. Thank you. They look completely. I had a band in high school called Dopamine. Cheers, everyone. Take a sip. But they look completely bored. And I think there is something about that kind of, if you're bored, you're relaxed, right? And that's one of the keys. I tense up way too much when I'm trying to play fast. And when I play fast and I'm really shredding, like I think I played you that solo. Like when I'm in my zone, you know, that's the goal, is to get to a zone. But the way you get to a zone is practice and knowing scales and things like that, having them under you and knowing the chord progression. Okay. Yeah, my coffee is very cold now. I may get a refill though. Like I need it. I may walk over to Starbucks and say, give me a refill. So where was that? I was playing, I can take that out. Hold on a second. I'll do it later. I was playing, it wasn't this, let's see, it was this. Yeah, so so when I was playing this solo, you know, it was the one of 5 solos I did for Apex Legends. I'm kind of just trying to come up with a really cool solo over the chord progression, which is this is just the solo. There's no track because I don't want to But I mean, I'm playing really fast, but it's just because I'm in a place where I know everything and I'm very comfortable with the track. I've got a sound that I like at the time. You know, a lot of times when I'm soloing, I like it to be pretty loud in the room because you want to get that energy. But I also need to have a good sound, and you have to have a good mix between you and the track. If the track is too loud, you won't hear your mistakes, or you'll hide behind the track too much. If your guitar is too loud, then you will call Uber. I haven't eaten yet today. Hold on a second, Darren. I'll talk about that in a second. But if your guitar is too loud, then you'll be too intimidated. You won't, and you may not be in time because you're not hearing the drums loud enough. So it's about finding that balance that's perfect for you. Everybody has a different perfect balance. Oh, you don't want me to leave. Somebody said. Well, Lee has my address. If I get a knock on a door, I know it's coming from Lee. Let's see. You've got ginger ale. Yeah, that's total hospital. I can't drink ginger ale or 7-Up without feeling like I'm sick. Mom always gave me 7-Up when I was sick. I couldn't swallow pills, so she would crush aspirin up in honey for me, and that's how I could swallow it. Get aspirin for fevers. So Darren's asked me, do you recommend using a pinky when climbing the scale if your hands can do it with a middle finger? It feels overstrung. Up to you. Here's the thing. I would watch, if you were talking about bluegrass playing, there's a bunch of videos, like compilation videos up, which I was watching. Just go to YouTube and enter best bluegrass guitar players or something like that. And there's somebody that did like a giant compilation of players, and there's literally 10 or 15, 20 seconds of each player, and then it moves on to the next player. And you realize, oh my gosh, this field is crowded, but there are some blazing players. And that's why I was looking at their right hand mostly to see what kind of, like, how many of them were anchoring with their pinky like this, and how many of them were free. And a few guys were anchoring like I do with my palm of my hand on the guitar top, but that's not recommended. Verner's isn't bad as far as ginger ale goes. You're right, Sam. Exactly. But But if you look at a lot of those players, you can see how many of them actually hardly ever use their pinky. I didn't look for that. So you might be surprised. That might be a no-no where everybody uses their pinky and it's like, nope, you got to keep. I did notice a couple times the guys had it pretty tucked away and they were, you could totally, if you got pretty big hands, you shouldn't have a problem not using your pinky. And I do, if you've watched, who asked the question again? Darren. Darren, you've been around long enough for me to tell you, look, when we're doing this G major pentatonic, I go ahead and say shift your hand. Don't use your second and third or second and pinky to finish that out. Go ahead and move your hand up here because this is how you're going to play it in the real world. Generally when you're playing over a song, you're not just shredding scale exercises. That's boring for everybody. Usually you're using a little piece of the scale to make a melodic idea work. And so, yeah, totally you can get rid of the pinky sometimes. As far as this thing goes, you could do it. If you want to move your hand up, you'll probably see a lot of players do that. So yeah, you could totally do that. But again, I would if you're looking to build your bluegrass lexicon and playing, then I would say maybe try to do whatever's most common. But if you're just trying to add some bluegrass licks to your standard playing that you're already comfortable using, not using your pinky very often. So, do I have a general fingering video? I do not. Not really yet. I do have an exercise we can do together right now if you want. It's a good one for getting that pinky worked out. So if you got your guitar in your hand, let's do it together. Anyone who's been with me from the beginning of the live stream knows this pattern. And I also did play along with Tom or warm up with Tom videos. I did 2 of those recently, so you can check those out. But this, Darren, this will help you kind of get that pinky stronger if you feel like it's just not very strong. But I agree with you. I oftentimes, if I'm going to sit on it, I'm definitely going to have a meatier finger like my third finger on that F sharp than I would want with the pinky. However, if I'm just going to be there for a second, it's on my way to somewhere, I'm probably going to go ahead and stick with my pinky. If that makes sense. But here's the warm up. That's really, really good for getting your pinky involved, okay? And what it is, it's just a warm-up. We're going to hit 8 notes. 1, your first finger, 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. So every other note is your 4th finger, okay? You guys are so chatty today. And then up a fret. Do it again. And then up a fret. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. You could also do it down here, like on the 4th string if you want to get down there lower. And this would be a good time to work on your pure alternating picking, which might be tough to do these 2 things at once. It's like walking down the street, rubbing your belly, patting your head, and chewing gum all at the same time. And I see, you know what? Interesting, Gary. I see a lot of bass players that don't use their 3rd finger. They'll play with their pinky a lot and their 2nd finger, first, 2nd, and pinky. I see a lot of bass players do that. Hey, Reed, what's going on, man? Okay, and we're more in Reed's wheelhouse on this. No, Lee, it's not your fault. No, trust me. It's not any. I don't know. It may be a little bit more chatty than normal. But not much more chatty than normal. So don't worry about it. But yeah, so if we're going on the 4th string, we go 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. Just work your way up the fretboard. And I'm practicing too, not resting my hand. And again, that's a good exercise to kind of really work out the pinky, because 50% of the 8 notes, 4 of the 8 notes are your pinky, and it forces your pinky to kind of be prepared. I got this at college at Butler. I'm wearing my Butler shirt. I'm representing. When I was 18 years old, and I'll tell you, boy, it was, because one of the things I kept doing, I kept tucking my pinky, and my teacher kept saying, "Nope, keep your pinky out there available," and it really helped me. It helped me in all the different styles of music. The different styles of music, it helped me keep my hand available. I mean, I still will tuck the pinky in because I think that's just physiologically natural. But it's definitely more available than it was when I first started. Yeah, Indiana. Yeah, I won't throw you out of class. Although we might. I mean, we had to. In fact, Bruce, I forgot to tell you, Dennis and Bruce, I forgot to tell you, I got a private message on my Facebook from the kid that was harassing Holly the other day. So he said, "Why did you take me off of Discord?" I didn't even reply because I didn't take him off of Discord. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not up on, as you know, I'm not up on Discord very often. So, but I went back to that video and blocked him from here just because he was getting a little weird. So we just don't want weird. Lee is about as weird as we want to get. But Lee and I are both weird. We were weird together. Okay, so let's see. Okay, another thing we could do too, which we haven't done, is in fact, I'm going to put a link to this website right now because it's so good. This guy is really done a lot of work. I don't know if he plays all these or if he re-speeds them in using software, but there's a website that I've had bookmarked probably for over 10 years, maybe longer. Almost since day one. I think it's been 10 years. It's called Flat Pick Apprentice, and so he's got jam tracks on here. He's got songs PDFs. He links to videos so you can see the song being played. The most recent one he did was Cattle in the Cane, which I don't know any of these songs, but a lot of them are fiddle tunes. But you'll see he's got Cattle in the Cane, literally 150, 155, 160, 165, 170, to all the way up to 225. He has chord progressions written out, and then there's a mandolin tab, which I should work on. That would be kind of fun. Let's see. Yeah, and when I play mandolin over bluegrass, I can. So let me show you the G major scale. I've got something for Tom and Jerry coming. Let's see here. Okay, hold on a second. Let me get the mandolin. I don't know if hopefully, I don't think I have a strap on. Let me see. It's hard to play mandolin without a strap because it tends to be resting. Let me grab the tuner. It tends to fall too low, right? And I do have a specific mandolin pick. The question is it here? It's also a Wiegand pick. It's a really nice pick, and I've learned to rotate the pick around so it's about 45-degree angle instead of straight on like this. I turn it like this. So instead of like that, I go like this, and it gives you a much rounder, bluegrassy tone. Now, just so you know, a mandolin is tuned very different than a guitar, but it's really tuned like the bottom 4 strings of a guitar upside down. And the low note on it is a G, so G is a perfect G is a perfect key for mandolin. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a great mandolin player, but I usually when people say, "Hey, do you play mandolin?" they want, in the studio or something. They want something like that. So that I can handle. Or if they want some mandolin, in some ways, for smaller hands, it's a great instrument. So if you don't have big hands and guitar's really giving you problems, you're struggling with bar chords, for example, mandolin is a good alternative. People give me grief about that video. I did that video about tips for people with smaller hands. And I give a bunch of tips, and then I end it with like, hey, look, if it's still a struggle for you, then take up a different instrument. And they're like, well, that's really nice. Oh, I log in to watch a video on how to play a guitar with smaller hands, and it says, you tell me you can't do it. I'm like, I didn't say that. I said like 10 things. I said, here's what you can do. And then the last thing I said was, look, playing music is fun. If I couldn't play the guitar because my hands were too small, I'd pick up ukulele or bass or banjo or slide, or I do all of those instruments. So I won't have a problem playing other. I just like making music. I don't care if it's guitar or not. Although guitar is my forte. But so I don't know how this is going to sound, but. Yeah, see, I'm not. I'm not in the zone yet today on the mandolin, so I have to woodshed it a little bit before I can pick it up and play it. But it's definitely one of those instruments where once I've had it in my hand for about 15 minutes, then it starts making more sense. But that's a sippable offense, by the way. I changed instruments, so and this pick also kind of. Sounds pretty good on this guitar too, but I kind of prefer this one. All right, so hey Bruce, we got up to 66. I think that's a record. 65 earlier, pretty early before 10 o'clock, and then right around 10:20 we got up to 65. That's pretty crazy. So let's see what else is going on. All right. Who do you see? Diru? Where's Diru? Anyway, okay, so, and I never did say hi. Oh, Lee is already learning the drinking games. That's pretty funny. She's already learning all the drinking game rules. But one of the things that we're gonna do is like, if you play G major pentatonic over G, it sounds great, right? If you play C major pentatonic over C, it sounds great, and over D, and there I am using my right. Yeah, I always worry, but I've got some people that are drinking adult beverages, but they're usually in Europe, so it's like okay, it's 8 o'clock there. All right, but it's 9 or whatever. It's dinner time. Okay, that's cool. But I don't want to encourage my my California viewers to start drinking at 9 in the morning. I got maybe 1 or 2 sips left, so I should probably put an end to this. Sorry about the late start because the stupid internet was down here, but hopefully we're good. I I've only seen green there, no buffering at all. So, yeah. So, well, hopefully this series won't reveal what a hack I am. But we're gonna flog away on this. We'll probably spend some more time on Wednesday on this G scale. Check out the Flat Pick Apprentice website. That's a really cool website. You can download all sorts of stuff. And Dennis just posted a permanent link to the become a member of the Discord. Make sure if at all possible, use your same username for the YouTube as you use for Discord. It's not always possible. You might already have an identity on Discord, or your username might be taken on Discord. So but make it clear in the introduction who you are. Okay, and you may have to remind people every now and then who you are, but eventually, once everybody gets to know who you are, yeah. Now, Bruce is saying you must. I know that's not perfectly always possible, just because, like I said, people don't want to restart their whole, especially if they have a history on Discord. If this is your first Discord, that should not be too much of a problem to use the same username. Or maybe put your real name as your Discord name, which I'm seeing everybody's pretty much real name here on here, because you have your name listed with Google. So it's showing up. Everybody's seeing, like I'm seeing Holly, David, not, some people like Gear Vimir and Hook. I'm seeing your handle, but so, okay. So we're going to continue this. Again, the Bluegrass jam is up there. And you can slow it down. Don't forget to use YouTube's. It's a little gear thing in the bottom of the screen. You can slow down or speed up a video. It's funny. I just noticed I was watching something on Netflix, and it even popped up a little window saying if you want to speed it up, and I'm like, because you could go to 125%, and everything just goes a little faster. And so I can get through TV shows faster. So I was like watching a little bit of TV at 125. I was going, yeah, I'm pretty much getting the same, but I'm saving time. Not that we don't all have a preponderance of time right now. But yeah, good day, everyone. Lee, I'll probably talk to you after this. But everybody stay safe, have fun. Don't get the COVID. Don't be a Lee. Well, we're all going to get it at some point. I think I've already had it at least once. I have a surgeon friend that he and his wife, she's a nurse and he's a surgeon, and they work at the same hospital. And they've had 2 cases where they believe that somebody's had it twice. But I also hearing that there's some tests that have an unbelievably high false positive test rating. So somebody could test positive and go, okay, you've got COVID for the second time, but it's like it could be a false positive. So I don't know how many tests you have to take, and if there are false negatives, but it's frustrating because we're trying to really want to operate on the most accurate numbers we can operate on, because we're making life and death decisions here. And in my opinion, all jobs are essential to someone. So I'm not I think that we're all adults and we can take precautions, and I know people that have gotten COVID that taken all the precautions, never left their house and have gotten COVID. So I just don't think it can be avoided in some ways. So anyway, okay, I will see you Wednesday at 9 a.m. if I have internet. Stupid internet. And of course, now we're spiking numbers here because I'm saying goodbye. People love to tune in for the goodbye. Holly, thanks for the coin. That means a lot. Thank you so much. It definitely makes it more plausible to keep doing this. And every little bit helps. So I will stick with this scale, though, for Wednesday. I'll try to come up with some more stuff. I'm trying to decide if I want to do songs. I would love to be able to learn a song with you guys, but that's really tough because it would have to be public domain. And so I'm not sure if anything up on what's his name? Flat Pick Apprentice, if any of that stuff's public domain. The other thing is I could write a melody or something, kind of do a play on some standard bluegrass melodies and come up with something of my own. and maybe write something, and then I could create a chart for it with that would take some time though, but create a chart with some tab and music notation so that we could all learn a song together. So anyway, thank you so much. I will see you Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have as good a turnout then. Who knows? Maybe it was a late start. Maybe I should start later I know, because we used to be at 11. I know, Bruce, you were saying I lost a bunch of people when I went to 9. But for me, I get more done in my day. I wasn't getting enough done before I logged in at 11. And then, so now I've got the whole day ahead of me and I can get a lot of work done. And I've got work kind of coming in right now, so I need to start hitting it. But I will see you on Wednesday. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.